वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Let's see Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the epilogue. As brilliant as the sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. Okay, there's the epilogue and then there's the definitions of certain important concepts. So let's see, this epilogue is short. So I'll start with the epilogue, Mataji, and then you can read the important concepts. King Parikshit peered around the assembly. It was still too dark to clearly see the sages' faces. He wondered how Bharadvaja and other students of Vaisheshika school had reacted to Maitreya's detailed explanation of time and space. The king himself felt elated. He could just make out of the profiles of some sages leaning forward, as if straining to hear. Was one of them Gautama, the famed logician? Surely he had been impressed by Maitreya's reply to the many logical conundrums Vidura had placed before him. What of sage Idmahu, who was a follower of the atheistic Kapila? What had he made of Maitreya's detailed account of how the entire material creation emanated from the Lord's spiritual body? The sun would be soon up. He would have a better idea of their reactions then. Parikshit turned his attention back to Shukadeva, whose noble features were illuminated by the moonlight. Sage smiled encouragingly. My dear king, do you need to rest? Oh no, my lord. I'm feeling fully enlivened by your narration, and I'm eager to hear what else transpired between Vidura and Maitreya. The rays of the midday sun shining through the tree branches were warm on Suta's back. He had been so absorbed in his narration that he was unaware of the time. The sages had been listening intently for 6 to 7 hours. It was time for their midday break before the sun became too hot. Promising to continue in the late afternoon, Suta rose and made his way to the river bank. Shaunaka tarried behind to ensure what was collected? Kindling. Kindling was collected and the priests manning the fires were rotated. Then along with most of the other sages, he followed Sutta to the river where they would cool themselves before foraging for fruits and roots. As he hurried to the river, he marveled at the thought of King Parikshit's and Shukadeva's great sacrifice. For 7 days and nights, they talked about Krishna without resting, eating, or drinking. He prayed silently that one day he might so relish topics about Krishna that he too could give up all thoughts of bodily needs. So this is the end of the part 1 of the 3rd canto. Vidura's pilgrimage. Okay, so we'll read some of the definition of some important topics that's in the summary of primary creation. Mataji, would you like to continue?
Yeah, okay. Appendix 1, definition of Mahatattva and summary of primary creation. Mahatattva is total consciousness because a portion of it is present in everyone as the intellect. It is a shadow of spiritual consciousness because the pure goodness of spiritual consciousness is tinged with the mode of passion to become the material mode of goodness. It is also the Lord's powerful expansion, which contains the three principles of creation, the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, as well as time, which is impetus of evolution and the living entities. Due to the agitation of time, the first transformation of Mahatattva is Ahankara or false ego. Due to subsequent agitations of time, Ahankara interacts with the mode of goodness, Vaikarika, to create the cosmic government, along with the mind and all the administrative gods. Time further agitates Ahankara to interact with the mode of passion, Taijasa, to create the working and knowledging acquiring senses. Time then agitates Ahankara to interact with the mode of ignorance to create all the sense objects and their qualities like sound, touch, form, taste, and fragrance. All material creations take place from subtle to gross. Ankara interacts with the mode of ignorance to create the elements along with their subtle qualities. At each stage of transformation, Maya and time are also involved. Each element interacts with the preceding elements and glanced upon by the Lord, it generates the subsequent quality and element. Ignorance in how Ankara interacts with the mode of ignorance to create the material elements and their subtle qualities. May Maya, the Lord's material energy, plus time, which moves creation along, are required at each stage. Ankara plus tamas, ignorance creates, sound which produces ether, touch produces air, which the glance of the Lord, this provides the sanction at each stage for the transformation to of transformation. Interacts with ether. Form produces light, which interacts with air. Taste produces water, which interacts with light. Fragrance produces earth. Take place. Appendix 2. How Vishnu manifests the universe 6.5 to 9. 6.5 to 6. 1. Garbhodakshai Vishnu lies down on the universal water which covers half the universe. 2. A golden energy known as Hiranyamaya emanates from him and pervades the universe for 1000 celestial years. At the end of 1000 years, Lord Brahma is born. 6.7 to 9 developments during the 1000 celestial years preceding Brahma's birth. Garbhodakshai Vishnu divides himself into 10 life years which power all bodily movements. 1. Consciousness, which is the central energy. 3 subdivisions of Ankara. See note 1 below. Seated in the heart, prana passes through the nose, apana passes through the rectum, udana passes, that is Shirodakshai Vishnu, the super soul or Paramatma, residing in the hearts of all living beings will. Number 1, Aditeva is a transformation of the mode of goodness. It generates the administrative gods. Through the throat, Vyana circulates through the entire body. Samana assists digestion. Naga facilitates opening. the individual souls. And the mind, 2. Adhyatma is transformation of the modes of passion. It generates the bodily senses such as of eyes, mouth, etc. 7. Kuma helps contraction. Prakara increases appetite. Devadatta helps relaxation. Eyes, ears, mouth, etc. 3. Adhibhuta is the transformation of modes of ignorance. It generates subtle and gross elements. Induces yawning. 10. Dhananjaya helps sustenance. The three subdivisions of Ahankara are also explained in Mysteries of Creation, Appendix 3, this book, Chapter 5, Text 29, where they are referred to as Vaikarika, goodness, Taijasa, passion, and Tamsa, ignorance. This book, Chapter 10 to Text 15, where they are referred to as Jnana Shakti, goodness, Kriya Shakti, passion, and Dravya Shakti, ignorance. Appendix 3, manifestations of the Virat Rupa. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur corresponds the description of universal development in these verses with the development of Adhideva, Adhyatma, and Adhibhuta. Adhideva refers to the gods who manage the universal elements. Adhyatma refers to the individual conscious self, and Adhibhuta to the external world. See Mysteries of Creation, Appendices 2 and 3. 1.6 to 12, 2.6.13, 3, 6.14. Spiritual Virat Rupa mouth, palate 2. Adhideva, Agni, the fire god. Adhyatma, subtle sense organ of the voice, ability to speak. Adhibhut, speech. 2.6.13 palate, Varuna, god of water, subtle sense organ of the tongue, ability to taste. Taste. 3.16.14 2. Ashwini, subtle smell. For consciousness, what should and should not be done. Appendix 4, why Vidura asks about time and creation. The explanation about creation. There are 6 prominent interpretations of the Vedas, which all disagree on life's ultimate goal and the solution to suffering. This is due to their differing understandings of the relationship between God, matter, and souls. They have 3 varying views of God's role in creation as follows. Number 1, God is the operative, effective, formal, and final cause of the material creation. Vyasadeva's Vedanta Sutra espouses this view. Matter and spirit are both eternal. They combine by chance. Although God exists, he merely supervises their interaction after they have combined. The Nyaya logicians led by Gautama, the Vaisheshika empiricists led by Kanara, the follower of the Yoga Sutra headed by Patanjali, and ritualistic religions known as Karma Mimamsas headed by Gemini are all adhere to this viewpoint. Similar to the second viewpoint, with the difference that they believe God does not exist and thus plays no role whatsoever in creation. The atheistic Sankhya school of Nirvishwara Kapila propounds this view. Mysteries of Creation, P.117, explains that Vidura discussed the intricacies of creation, including topics such as time and atoms, because he knew that misunderstandings regarding them creates confusions regarding life's goal. This is substantiated in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Saratha Darshini 2.10.1 to 2. Shukadeva said, in this Purana there are 10 topics: creation, secondary creation, protection, mercy of the Lord, material activities, the conduct of the Manu stories of the Lord, destruction of the universe, liberation, and ultimate shelter. The great devotees such as Vidura and Maitreya describe properly the 9 topics in order to impart the highest knowledge of the 10th topic through the words of the scripture and stories to illustrate their meaning. For the above reasons, we suggest that Vidura is asking more detailed questions about time in order to clearly understand the truth about creation, which has been misrepresented by the Nyayas, Vaisheshikas, Yoga Sutras, Karma Mimamsas, and Sankhyaites mentioned above. Number 1, Mysteries of Creation, Prologue and Appendix 1. 2. In philosophy, there are 4 ways to explain causation. As in the examples of the causation of a house, the construction company is the operative cause. The bricks, cement, and other building materials are the material cause. The original types of house upon which this house is modeled is the formal cause, and the purpose of the house, that is, that someone wants to live in it, is the final cause. The 6 systems of Vedic philosophy by Suhotra Das Tapovanchari. These are 4 causes were also explained in Mysteries of Creation. P10, there the term efficient cause was used in place of operative cause, and the term remote cause was used instead of final cause. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada uses the term final cause in a way which suggests he means the operative or efficient cause. For example, in Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 17, purport. Appendix 5, divisions of time, 11.10 to 12.
Okay, let's see. Any comments, Mataji? Any
Mataji, it's so complicated, I
I
just
know.
could not understand anything.
These are important concepts about the creation of the universe that is being summarized. That's why we read the whole canto, because it's like a lot of descriptions. So let's see if we have any other simpler explanations or concepts which is opened up here.
Mm.
You know, this is when we're studying, like for Bhakti Vaibhava, something we need to like remember.
Mm.
Like this one, you know, it's very simple. What Varna, Brahmana, nature of occupation to study and teach Vedic truths and to perform religious sacrifice on behalf of other members of the society. Kshatriya to protect the citizens and administrative society. Vaishyas to create and distribute sustainable wealth in this society. Shudras to assist one of the other 3 occupations. And the purpose of the divisions is to enable everyone in society to progress towards self-realization. Similarly, here they have ashram, brahmachari, and what that is, the virtue, education, for the brahmachari, grihastha, vratas, maintaining oneself, and charity, which includes mercy, vanaprastha, penance and austerity. So that's kind of summarizes the varna and the ashram and the duties of each of them. And here is, oh yeah, I remember I was saying that there is the whole appendix of Swayambhava, Manu and Shatarupa's progeny. There's like a list of all of them, and here it is. You see Priyavrata, Uttanapada, and then Akuti and Devahuti and Prasuti, how their lineage grows. And this is a division of which verses are, what conversations are happening in which verse. Maybe we can read this part. There's a difference between the description given in chapter 58 of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where we are told that Arjuna drove away all the princesses without killing even one of them. And Srimad Bhagavatam, where we hear that Krishna himself killed or wounded all the attackers. Sri Jiva Goswami, in his Krama Sandarbha commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, resolves this apparent contradiction as follows. It was Krishna who killed through the weapons of his own, and Arjuna, etc. This was Krishna's avesha, the personal potency, entered into those weapons. Thus, the killing of weapons was actually by Krishna himself. The 10th canto says that Arjuna merely drove them away. Krishna's marriage to Satyabhama is described in Bhagavatam. I mean, some basic concepts here. The Pandavas and Kauravas were both descendants of the ancient Kuru dynasty. Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna and Subhadra, Krishna's sister. Thus, he was also Krishna's nephew. And Srimad Bhagavatam, we can find in the 11th canto, chapter 30, more description of this battle. Also, there is a book written by Krishna Dharma Prabhu and Mahabharata, this fantastic description of the Mahabharata war. It's amazing. It's like amazing book. We should cover that also sometime. It's like everything that happens in the war field. This is interesting. The tree referred to in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 4, text 8, as Ashwatthama tree, which is sometimes translated as peepal tree and sometimes as a banyan tree. The peepal and the banyan are both fig trees and are closely related. The Vedas assert that Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to do personally. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Because he is doing everything through his energies and potencies. Parasya shaktir vividhaya shriyate. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13, Text 14, purport. The Lord acts only to satisfy the desires of his devotees. Otherwise, he has nothing to do. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. So, he's not so easy to understand. Oh, Krishna is born in Mathura. His father is Vasudeva. No, he's unborn. He's unborn. But I'm seeing that he's unborn just like sun is unborn. I'm seeing that at 5 o'clock, sun is born in the eastern side of New York City. This is my foolishness. Sun is never born. He's always there. It is my imperfection that I'm seeing that sun is born this hour. Similarly, Krishna is never born. Krishna is just like the sun. Extract from Srila Prabhupada's lecture on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. By following in the footsteps of pure devotees, we can know that Krishna left the battlefield not because he was afraid, but because he had some other purpose. The purpose, as it will be revealed, was to attend to a confidential letter sent by Rukmini, his future first wife. Krishna is leaving the battlefield in a display of one of the 6 opulences. Krishna is the supreme powerful, the supreme wealthy, the supreme famous, the supreme wise, the supreme beautiful. Similarly, he is the supreme renouncer. Srimad Bhagavatam clearly states that he left the battlefield in spite of having ample military strength. Even without his militia, he alone would have been sufficient to defeat the army of Jarasandha, as he had done 17 times before. Therefore, his leaving the battlefield is an example of his supermost opulence. Pronunciation. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his divine grace. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord Krishna is described here as Atma Rama. He is self-sufficient and there's no need for him to seek happiness from anything beyond himself. He is self-sufficient because his very transcendental existence is total bliss. He is eternally existent. He is all cognizant and all blissful. Therefore, any presentation, however valuable it may be, is not needed by him. But still, because he is the well-wisher for one and all, he accepts from everyone everything that is offered to him in pure devotional service. This is interesting. The authors are not clear who these gods or where they reside, as we were only told that they enter the universal form in their various positions. They have the same names as the administrative gods in the universe. But those gods have yet to be manifested as they appear in the secondary creation of Lord Brahma, who has also not yet appeared. Here, verse 38, they are described as empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. They are called as Vishwashrajam, which Srila Prabhupada translates as the demigods entrusted with the task of constructing the cosmic manifestation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls them the professional elements in his commentary on the same verse. As far as it goes in verse 2:9:17 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada in his commentary says that the different energies seen by Brahma surrounding Lord Vishnu are the personified elements and senses. The 16 energies are named by Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita as Shri, Bhu, Kirti, Ila, etc. So we are wondering if these 16 spiritual energies of Narayan become the elements and senses in the primary creation. In Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 230, verse, it is also said that by his internal energy, the Lord created the energies of cause and effect, which we understand refers to the primary and secondary creation. In verse 17 of the 10th chapter, the primary creation devatas are again mentioned. And in his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refers to them as sense devatas, who preside over the senses. Later in that chapter, Maitreya says that in the secondary creation, the 10th creation is the devas. So we surmise that there is a difference between these administrative devas and those who appear in the primary creation. It appears that the later manifestation of devatas serve two functions. One is enabling the construction of the universe and the other is governing the senses. A fully Krishna conscious person, although situated in this material world, does not see anything but Krishna anywhere and everywhere. This is the sign of Mahabhagavat. The Mahabhagavat sees Krishna everywhere because of his attitude of pure love for Krishna. A pure devotee of Lord sees Krishna everywhere and sees all of the variegated modes of nature as potency of Lord Krishna. One who does not see the Lord will certainly see material variety as a supreme reality. Such vision is called Maya or gross illusion and is similar to the vision of an animal. Paratantriyam means one will remain caught in the web of fruitive activities unless one gives up the superficial separatist vision. Mahatattva, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, leg, evacuating organ, genital, speech, and mind. Let's see if anything catches your attention, something that we studied and something you want to. This is interesting, even if one is not a perfect Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but takes to the service of the Lord, not caring for the perfection of his social position, he becomes a perfect human being simply by developing the attitude of service to the Supreme Lord. All these are like basically some of those concepts we already studied. Vidura summarizing the teachings. This Vasudeva and Sankarshan are plenary expansions of Lord Krishna. The most confidential part of the instruction is that one should always chant and remember the glories of Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions, expanded as Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Those expansions are the original deities for all other truths, namely either Vishnu Tattva or Shakti Tattvas. Okay, we can end here today. Tomorrow we will continue.